Let's stick to the phones. We'll go next to our caller from the 786 area code. Caller from 786, what's your name, where are you calling from, and what's on your mind today?
Hello, David. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah, speak up, though. You're a little low, and tell us your name, too.
Hi. My name's Danny from Miami, Florida.
Great. Hey, by the way, how are
uh,
things in Miami? What with the hurricane? I'm sort of tentatively supposed to be down in Miami in December, and are things okay?
Things are pretty flooded. I mean, my neighborhood got pretty nicely rattled by the hurricane. A
Wow.
couple trees down. A tree fell on my neighbor's car. So yeah, not great.
Power's on, though.
What was that?
Power is on.
Power's on. Data service is still not back up. I'm calling through Wi-Fi right now.
Okay, got it. All right, what's on your mind?
So I wanted to ask you, with sort of the rise of the far right through the Western hemisphere, I guess you can say,
Mhm.
what do you think is the best way for the left to sort of curtail that and kind of, I guess you could say, regain the reins? Should we debate them, punch them? What do you,
Yeah,
what do you
so
think is
I
the
don't think
best way?
that we should punch. I do think that it makes sense. It's always tough when you ask, well, what's the best way to fight back against a particular set of ideas? Because number one, it's not always, there's not one method that is the best for everybody, right? So depending on one's position sort of within society and their level of knowledge and comfort and where you work, where you live, etc., there are different ways that individuals can activate against movements that they find to be despicable, vile, and disgusting, which many of these movements certainly qualify as. So number one, I think that any time that the opponents to these far right movements turn to violence or aggression, they are hurting themselves. Now, you can make a moral case, right? There are people who say, no, you can morally make the case that Nazis deserve to be punched. Let's not even debate that. Let's just agree, or at least realize, that if you do that, you are going to delegitimize or appear to delegitimize your side of the debate. And it really shouldn't be much of a debate. So you don't want to concede anything by being the side that goes first to physical violence. That's number one. Number two, debating. Debating is a complex thing because there are debates that merely by virtue of agreeing to have a debate, you are to some degree legitimizing what you are debating against. In other words, if an idea really is so silly that it's not worthy of being debated against, that means to many people that it's not that worthwhile to even consider. If there are all of a sudden prominent debates with white supremacists or extreme rightists or whatever, in a sense, it might appear as though that legitimizes their points of view. That's not always the case, though. If you have people in media, and we do opposition debates with some frequency, and the context clearly is, like when I interview a white supremacist, the context is obviously, I don't agree with them. And I'm coming in prepared to sort of expose the weaknesses in the arguments, then I think that there is some benefit to that. But as you can probably hear me saying, Danny, there's no one size fits all response. And I know that there have been a few prominent articles that say, one view is ignore the far rightists and all of the events that they throw, just completely ignore it. And then there are others who say, terrible idea. Do not ignore them because that's how they slowly will gain more and more support. And before you know it, these are movements that will have some power. So unfortunately, I don't think there's one answer as to what to do, but I think it's really important not to be sort of goaded or suckered into acting in ways that are going to be perceived as delegitimizing the opposition movement. That's a really bad idea.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I just, I've read up on some interesting articles that talk about the absurdity of fascism, basically this
Yeah.
this sort of unadherence to having an honest debate. It's more about, presenting a strongman message, and it's a very hard idea to argue against because you're coming to the table with, facts, evidence, whatever you're trying to do to sway
Yeah.
the I guess you could say centrist, and then here comes someone who's touting a different, utilizing rhetoric to essentially bring people to their side. And so
That's the other thing. Like
I
debates
wanted to
can
know,
also
do you think
be.
debate is a
Sometimes we think that if we just hit people over the head with facts, then clearly they'll see that our facts are right. But as we've seen with climate change and climate science, it doesn't really work that way. So that can be dangerous. Not dangerous in any kind of sense beyond just it can backfire.
Mhm.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right.
Danny,
Well,
thanks so much for the
thank you
call.
very much.
Very much appreciate it. Great to hear from you.